All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Tuesday, October 24th NHL Quick Hit video here. We got a big boy slate, 13 games on tap tonight. We're going to break it all down for you, or myself, I'm going to break it all down for you, give you guys some of my favorite stacks, my favorite goalies, and some value at each position, center, wing, and D-man. If you guys are new here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton here. We're on the tour for 4,000 subscribers right here on the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel. And then, hey, if you're feeling generous, head over to the Mayo Media Network and drop a subscription on there. A lot of our NBA shows, which obviously tonight is opening day of NHL, or not NHL, excuse me, opening night of NBA. We have you covered all season long over here at SHIPIT Nation. If you guys are not a member yet, use promo code NBA10. Throw it up on the screen here. You can see that. We got expert content, projections, tools, the best community in the business in terms of the Discord chat, and it covers all sports for one price. Use that promo code. Takes it under $60 a month, about $62 a month. If you do the monthly membership, takes you down to about $630 bucks for the year if you use this 10% off coupon. And then obviously the 6-month package as well. We do have available, but no better time to join than now. NFL going good. We've been absolutely crushing right now. If you haven't seen over on Twitter, on our SHIPIT Nation Twitter, or X, which is now called the previously called Twitter. The new world is X. But we've been absolutely crushing over here. So I don't know what you guys are waiting for. Definitely jump in. But without further ado, 13 games on tap tonight. Massive matches, NHL slate tonight. Great contest over on DraftKings for sure. So I'm going to do my best to give you guys the winners. Looking at the slate from an overall total, we have a 7 total there in Buffalo and Ottawa between that game there. That's the only 7 total we have on the board. We have quite a few 6.5 totals. Edmonton, Minnesota is a 6.5 total. Arizona and the Kings is a 6.5 total. We'll talk on some of the Kings there. Kings are pretty got some nice price points. Dallas and Pittsburgh, the Sharks and the Panthers, and then the Devils and the Canadians are also 6.5 total, along with the Hurricanes and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So quite a bit of high totals on the slate. And actually that's 7 total. The Sabres and the Senators, I do not believe is on the main slate. Yes, excuse me. So scratch that. There is no 7 totals on the main slate here for DraftKings. Bunch of 6.5 totals, couple 5.5 totals. Overall, definitely going to be interesting from a team total perspective. Implied goal total, Florida leads the slate at 4.8 right now as it sits. Jersey shortly behind at 4.5. The Kings at 4.1. Definitely interesting there for the Kings. Obviously facing Arizona there. They got some very nice price points. We'll definitely talk on there. Boston sitting at 4.2 or 4.02, excuse me. I'm looking at some of the lowest teams on the slate, just on the other end of the spectrum. We have Chicago sitting under 2, San Jose sitting under 2, Montreal sitting right around 2.2, St. Louis sitting at about 2.4, and the Islanders round out the bottom at 2.6. So definitely an interesting slate overall. We got some heavy favorites on the slate, like obviously Boston on the slate. We'll touch on them. Vegas at home, -198. They're a heavy favorite. The Kings at home, -184. Very, very heavy favorite there. We got a lot of heavy favorites, and then we got some pick'ems in here, which is definitely going to be an interesting talking point. Florida, obviously, massive favorites here at home against the San Jose Sharks, who have started the year 0-5. So we're going to break down. We're going to talk through it, looking at this slate. Again, kind of the structure I'm going to go with is give you some of my favorite stacks and my favorite players on those stacks, what I'm targeting, and then talk through some goalies and some value plays is how we're going to look at it here. First team I have interest here is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going right back to the well with the Lightning here at home. plus 116 home dogs here. I think that's too good to be true. I think Carolina's a good hockey team here, but they're 2-3 to start the year. Tampa's 2-4. Tampa's at home. I give Tampa the edge here. Carolina has been the worst defense in the league this season, allowing almost 5 goals per game. And now they get Tampa, who just came off a loss against Toronto at home here, 4-3. So I think Tampa bounces back, in a big way here and kind of sticks it to Carolina here. I do expect there to be goals on both sides. So I actually like both sides of this game. This is a unique spot here where I do like both sides of this game, but Tampa is definitely my preferred. Nikita Kucherov, it starts and ends with him. 8,400 for him. The dude's dropped 33 and 37 DraftKings points in his last 2 games, and his price has raised $100 in each of those games. So he's at 8,400 here. He's going to play 22 to 24 minutes. Top line, top power play in an absolutely elite matchup here. Love him. Steven Stamkos has been back. Dropped 20 points against Vancouver. Had a letdown last game against Toronto, but doesn't really matter to me. I do like him quite a bit as well. He does get you power play correlation with Kucherov as well. Skates on that second line for full strength. So little bit of cross correlation there, which I always like. It definitely increases your ice time out there over all your skaters. If you got 2 guys from, like, say, a second full strength line, but they correlate on the top power play line, well, you got 4 skaters that all correlate together on the power play. And then full strength, you still got a little correlation, but it just increases your ice time because you'll have 2 skaters out there for a majority of the game with the first line and the second line is typically one way that I like to do, if possible, in NHL. Just increases your ice time in your stack. Braden Point, typically going to be the quarterback, the center there, obviously, but 7,600 top line, top power play. He's got pretty good success against Carolina as well. I think he's fine. Do want to mention Bear Boulette, the value winger. He's still very cheap. Scored a goal, I believe, last game or the game before that. Yeah, last game he did score a goal. Played 15 minutes. He's just 3,300 on that top line and gets second power play run as well. Pretty hard for me not to like him when I do like Tampa at just 3,300 when he's skating alongside Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov. The opportunities are going to be there. And he is playing minutes and he's just 3,300. So good value play there. And then another value play for Tampa I want to throw out is Anthony Cirelli here. Great history, or not the best history, but the guy's playing right around 18 to 20 minutes, and he's 3,900 on the third line, getting second power play time as well in a game where I expect there to be a lot of goals here in this one. And I like Tampa side quite a bit. Jumping on the Carolina side a little bit, just looking at this, it does look like Aho and Svechnikov are going to be back tonight, which is a huge boost for Carolina, for this Carolina offense. It is a 6.5 total. This game is. I expect there to be a lot of goals here because Tampa is was the 4th worst defense so far through their 6 games of the year, allowing right around 4 goals per game. So I do think we do see some goals out of the Carolina side. It's always an issue. It's always a struggle with Carolina. You don't know who's going to score. But I would definitely look at that second line. That second line is my preference with Nosen, Seth Jarvis, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Kotkaniemi at 4,200. He's dropped 16 points in his last 3 games, and his price is at 4,200. Second line, second power play. Going to play 16 to 18 minutes. I like him as a great value play at just 4,200. So that second line for Carolina, that's Steven Nosen, Seth Jarvis, Jesperi Kotkaniemi line. Do not sleep on that line. I like that line quite a bit. And then if you want a little revenge narrative, Michael Bunting, top line, top power play, 5,400. Little revenge narrative there, I believe. 1 second, let me just double check. I might be getting that mixed up with him in Toronto. Yeah, excuse me. No revenge narrative. I was getting Tampa and Toronto mixed up there. But still, Michael Bunting, 5,400, top line, top power play. He's been good. 15, 11, 10, 19 DraftKings points in 4 of his last 5. So do like him. But my main focus, Tampa Bay power play 1 in this game. One of my favorite stacks on the night. And then Carolina 2 as a value stack, kind of a lower owned stack overall is definitely where I'm looking in that one. Looking at one of my other top stacks on the slate, we're going out to Florida here. Florida gets the Sharks here. Sharks have been absolutely horrible to start the year. I don't think they're a good hockey team at all. They're going to be struggle all year long. They're 0-5 to start the year. Florida going to be chalky. Biggest favorite on the slate here at home against one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, the Sharks are allowing almost 40 shots on goal against two opposing offenses, and the Panthers fire the puck a ton. One interesting note is also the Sharks, 17.7 high danger chances against to this so far on the season through their 5 games. So they're a lot of high danger chances. That's leading to a lot of goals. Obviously, they're the 5th worst defense in the league in terms of goals allowed, and the 2nd worst in terms of expected goals. So actually a little regression, positive regression coming there as well. So they've actually been performing a little bit better than their expected goals against. So love Florida here. Florida is probably going to be one of the chalkiest teams on the slate. Got to be interested on how you play them and how you get different with them. Jump down in the 3rd line is an easy way to get different with Florida. But love the top 6 skaters here. Alexander Barkov, Sam Reinhart, and Rodriguez. Love that top line. They're going to be very expensive. Sam Reinhart has been absolutely on a tear. 21, 34, 28, 24 DraftKings points in his last 4. He's just 6,700. One of the best plays on the entire slate, in my opinion. He's going to expect him to carry heavy ownership. Alexander Barkov at 7,400. Love him as well, especially at home. Loved him last game against Vancouver. He did score a goal, played 19 minutes. I expect him to play over 20 minutes here on home ice. Just 7,400 in an absolutely elite matchup. Centers against San Jose have crushed. One guy I do want to throw out in terms of a D-man, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. This guy's a stud. 4,800. His price has started to climb, but 4,800 for a top power play D-man that sees block shots, that fires a puck as well, and going to pay 24 to 26 minutes. You can't go wrong there at sub 5K for him. Again, I already mentioned Evan Rodriguez in that top line stack. But don't sleep on these 2nd and 3rd lines. Carter Verhaeghe, E2 Luosterainen, and Matthew Tkachuk. Love that 2nd line as well. Probably going to be a little bit lower owned than that top line. Carter Verhaeghe has pretty good history against San Jose. He's 5,700 as the winger, like him. And then E2 Luosterainen is a great value play on this slate. He's just 3.6K here, and I think he has a great matchup here. Again, 2nd line for him, and I expect Florida to score probably 4, 5, 6 goals in this one against San Jose. San Jose is not any good overall, and I think Florida absolutely beats the brakes off of them. So I like the top 3 lines. My preferred are top 2. 3rd line is definitely going to be a little bit lower owned. E2 Luosterainen is a great value play for Florida. Overall, I love Florida on the slate. Not going to be a contrarian take by any means, but it's just the nature of the beast, and you got to get some pieces. It is a 13-game slate, so ownership is going to spread no matter what. Looking at another team I have interest in here is Minnesota. Minnesota at home. I'm a huge Minnesota guy at home when they're on home ice, and they are on home ice here against Edmonton. Let me just pull up the game. Looking at Edmonton, 3rd worst defense in the league, allowing right around 4 goals per game. One interesting note, their expected goals against is significantly lower, so maybe some negative regression coming for them. Maybe they can figure it out, but I don't know. Minnesota plays very good at home. They're 2-3 to start the year. Edmonton's coming in at 1-4. Minnesota really needs a win here. It's a pick-em, 6.5 total on home ice, -103 for Minnesota, -107 for Edmonton. But looking at this, I really like Minnesota's top power play. That's my preferred here. Just looking at Edmonton's penalty kill, sitting at about 71%. They give up over four penalties per game as well. Kirill Kaprizov, one of the best plays on the slate in terms of wing, 8,200. He's crushed Edmonton in the past, even in low-scoring games. And we've actually seen, so in 2 of the last 3, last year, it was 5-3 between these two. Minnesota took the series last year 2-1 between Edmonton. Had a 2-1 win and a 5-3 win, and then a 5-2 loss, but that game was in Edmonton. So both games they played Edmonton last year on home ice, they did win. Kirill the Thrill in the first game had 3 shots on net, a goal and 2 assists, 26 points. I can see him scoring over 20 here. Like this top power play. Joel Eriksson Ek, like him more on the road, but his price point, 6,600. I mean, the guy's just been consistent all year outside of the game against Toronto, but 23, 23, 15, 16 in 4 of his last 5. He's going to play 18 to 20 minutes as well. Definitely going to be tasked with chasing around McDavid on home ice here, which can definitely be a struggle. And he's definitely going to be more defensive minded on home ice. That's just how he always is. His line, that Marcus Johansson, Maroon, and Eck line, always gets the toughest task in terms of opposing scoring lines, which is going to be the McDavid and Draisaitl line here tonight. But I still think that can lead to goals and opportunities. So I still like Eriksson Ek. Matt Zuccarello, love him at 6,200. He's an automatic pairing with Kirill Kaprizov. Those two come as a package deal, basically. Love stacking those two together. I like them a lot. Kalen Addison at just 4,300 on that top line, top power play, a value D-man you can throw in there if you're interested in that. And then another value guy, Marcus Johansson, 3,700, top power play, second line. Going to play 17 to 19 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. And at sub 4K in a matchup I expect to see a lot of goals. I like him quite a bit. So give me this top power play mainly for Minnesota as kind of a lower owned stack here in a game on home ice where I just think they make a lot of sense. On the other side, you can definitely look at Edmonton. You can play Edmonton each and every slate. I don't know if I love Edmonton a ton here at these prices. They're very expensive here. Minnesota can be pretty good on home ice, but to start the year, Minnesota's allowing the second most goals against and the third most expected goals against. So Edmonton, I would, if I had a preferred, I would Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, that second line, just because I think he's going to avoid the Eriksson Ek line in terms of defense. So I would look at that second line, preferably with Fogle, Janmark, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins if I was going to these. Obviously, you can play Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl each and every slate, but I do think McDavid is actually out. It does look like. I believe McDavid is not going to play tonight, so scratch that. Do not play McDavid. But yeah, I mean, main interest in this game is definitely on the Minnesota side for me personally. Looking at another team, I definitely like quite a bit here. New Jersey. New Jersey's on the road here in Montreal. It's just a good matchup. I think New Jersey is definitely a better hockey team than they've shown so far. They're 2-2 to start the year. Montreal has definitely surprised me to start the season 3-2 here. They've got some quality wins, but New Jersey just been very good. And looking at expected goals against, Montreal is the worst in the league. So their actual goals against is 13th best, which is one of the best, obviously top half of the league. But their expected goals is the stone worst. So I see a bunch of regression coming from them, and no better spot than here against a very, very high powerful offense. Jack Hughes, 9K. He's very expensive, but his game, if you just look at his game log, it definitely warrants. Jack Hughes, one of the best centers in the entire league. 23, 30, 17, and 42 DraftKings points. Dropped 42 against New York last game. Obviously, 2 assists, 2 goals helps when you do that to score a lot. But Nico Hischier, don't sleep on Nico Hischier. He is a game time decision, so definitely monitor that. But if he does skate, I do like that second line quite a bit with Andres Palat, Jesper Bratt, and Nico Hischier. A little bit cheaper than that top line in Toffoli, Timo Meier, and Jack Hughes. But love the top 6 skaters, all line 1, line 2 for New Jersey here. Again, I think New Jersey picks up a win here in Montreal. Obviously, they're a heavy road favorite here, minus 225, and implied to score 4.5 goals. But I expect a lot of regression here coming from Montreal. I think some of those expected goals are going to hit the ice here, and we're going to see New Jersey pop off tonight. New Jersey does have the best power play as well to start the year, and Montreal gives up the most penalties in the league at 5.8. So almost 6 penalties against the best penalty, the best power play in the league so far this season, cashing in about 43%. Give me this top power play for New Jersey. Love them here tonight. Already talked on Edmonton. I think you can definitely play Edmonton because Minnesota has been leaky. One of my lower owned stacks here is actually Vancouver. Pretty interesting here. Didn't think I'd be looking at Vancouver much, but looking at my matchup sheet over here on ShipItNation.com, Vancouver actually is the 5th best offense in the league so far, scoring goals. A lot of puck luck, I think, is gone their way because when you look at expected goals, it's definitely significant goals for, which averaging 4 per game right now. But looking at this, I want the power play matchup here for Vancouver. Vancouver power play 1 is definitely my preferred. Elias Pettersson, JT Miller is where I'm looking at. Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes, and Kuzmenko. Those 5 are where I'm looking. Just looking at the numbers here for Nashville, their penalty kill is 66%, and they allow 3.5 chances per game. So I think Vancouver, as a small road dog here, Drew Saros is obviously very good on home ice and I expect him to be in net here for Nashville. But man, Vancouver power play 1, nobody's going to play them, and they've actually been pretty good lately as well. And they got pretty fair price tags for the most part. Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes, Kuzmenko, those guys are cheap. And then obviously you got the 2 more expensive guys, JT Miller, Elias Pettersson. But I do like Vancouver top power play a decent amount here. One thing I do want to hit on, the Kings. I expect the Kings to get a lot of ownership here. I just think they have a good matchup here. They're on home ice against the Coyotes, but everyone looked at these Coyotes as a terrible hockey team, and they're 3-2. They're 3-2 to start the year, and they have been the 3rd best team in the league, allowing under 2 goals per game, 1.77 goals against allowed on the year. Expected goals is good. Where they get beat up is definitely on the penalty kill. Their penalty kill is 4th worst in the league at 68%. So if I'm going to the Kings, which I do think the Kings do get a lot of ownership at these price points. I mean, Kevin Fiala, 6K, Kempe under 6K, Dubois, Pierre-Luc Dubois. I mean, this guy's been on a tear, 13, 22, 11 DraftKings points. He's sub 5K on that top power play. I think he's a great value play on this slate overall in terms of kind of that mid-tier winger. So Pierre-Luc Dubois, expect him to carry pretty heavy ownership here. In terms of projections, he's getting slammed in the optimizer. So I expect him to get a lot of ownership. But this top power play for the Kings, I definitely have interest in. Drew Doughty, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Ans Kopitar at 4,900. I mean, that price point is criminal for him. I expect Ans Kopitar to have a breakout game coming pretty soon. I'd rather be early on that than late. So him at sub 5K, him and Pierre-Luc Dubois, just grab 2 centers. Obviously, they skate on different lines, full strength, but they correlate on the power play. That's one way to be unique is just grab both centers there, throw in a Kemp, throw in a Fiala, or a Doughty, make a 3-man power play stack. Little cross correlation there, I think, is one way they get different with the Kings. But did want to bring up the Kings. Kings kind of round up my other stack. Obviously, there's 13 games on the slate, 26 teams to pick from. I could go through and list off interesting pieces I have in every slate, but those are some of the top teams that I'm looking at least as it sits right now. Again, my final thoughts and stuff will be up on SHIPITNation.com for subscribers. All of our projections, our content, and our tools are over there. Again, promo code NBA10 if you're not a subscriber yet, SHIPITNation.com. Use that promo code NBA10, gets you 10% off for life. Any package that you choose, 6-month, year package, or the month package, and get you the best all-in deal in the industry for the product that we have at hand. With NBA obviously tipping off tonight, you definitely want to be a member. We have the best projections, in my opinion, in the industry. I won the live final, or the $100 single entry leaderboard contest last year that DraftKings runs, a week-long contest against some of the best players in the world. And then my guy Tambo shipped 3 live final seats with these projections and these tools, and parlayed it into a top 10 finish for 150 stacks out there in Denver. So definitely no better time to join than now. Use promo code NBA10 to get in. Let's talk through some goalies I'm looking at here tonight. One of my favorite goalies on the slate, Alexander Georgiev. He's 8.1K, excuse me. Colorado 5-0 to start the year. That game total is just a 5.5. So I actually like both goalies in that game. I like Alexander Georgiev, and then Ilya Sorokin at 7.3K here on home ice. He's going to see a ton of shot volume, and he's probably my favorite cheaper goalie on this entire slate, because even if Colorado does win this game, I think it's like a 2-1 or a 3-2 type game. I don't expect there to be a ton of goals, but what I do expect there to be is a ton of shots on goal against Sorokin. Colorado, second best team in the league in terms of shots for. They fire the puck a ton, and I just think that Sorokin at 7.3K with the shot volume he's going to see is definitely a very, very good value goalie on the slate. Another value goalie I like is Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington's actually been very, very good to start the year. I think the Blues are a little sneaky here. They're 2-2 to start the year against Winnipeg. Hillebuck hasn't been great, but Binnington's been great. 22, 24, 21. And he's saved a ton of shots. He's given up minimal goals. His only loss is against Dallas in Dallas, but he beat Seattle and he beat Pittsburgh at home here. Now he heads out to Winnipeg in a game where I think he can definitely sneak out a win. And at 7,300, he's going to see shot volume. He's been good to start the year. He's definitely checked in. That's one thing you want to note with Binnington. He's kind of a head case, but does seem like mentally he's there. And I like some of these Blues a little bit. There's some value plays that I'm going to talk on once I go through the value section here that I think the Blues can win this game. So Binnington at 7,300, I have interest in. And then the other two guys I have interest in. Igor Shesterkin has a crazy, crazy good projection. So that's a pure projection play. Ranks very good in our projection model over here at SHIPITNation.com. So Igor Shesterkin at 7,900, I think makes some sense. And then the other guy I'm looking at is Jake Ottinger for Dallas. He gets the Pirates or the Penguins, not the Pirates, excuse me, the Penguins here. He is on the road, but Dallas is a very good hockey team, 3-1 to start the year. The Penguins 2-3 to start the year. They are at home, 6.5 total in that, but he's going to see a lot of shots. He's a good goalie in my opinion, 7,800, kind of just checks the box. I think Dallas can win the game as well. So little bonus there. Those are kind of the 5 goalies that I'm looking at on this slate. I really do like Sorokin and Binnington down there at 7,300 for what they do for your roster though. Overall, looking at the center position here, some value centers, going to go through about 5 value plays at each position here, sub 4K to qualify. First one, Tommy Novak, Tommy Hockey. This guy's been a stud for Nashville here. Vancouver can be leaky. He's has a 21 and a 20 DraftKings point along with a 13. He's going to play 13 to probably 15 minutes. But when he's out there, he fires the puck, gets some power play time as well. And he is on home ice as a third liner. So I definitely like the third liners a little bit more on home ice. So Tommy Novak, one of the value centers that I would look at on the slate. I already talked about Anthony Cirelli. I like Tampa Bay quite a bit on this slate. He is a third liner again at home, which typically when I like to play third liners, get some second power play time. He is going to see 18 to 20 minutes. So his ice time is definitely going to be there. I like him quite a bit. And then Alex Wenberg. Alex Wenberg is a stone punt. I mean, he is 2.6K. Nobody's going to play him. He's on the second line. I like second liners more on the road. He's going to play probably 18 to 19, 20 minutes as well. And at 2.6K, if he falls away into an assist or a goal, I mean, what it does for your lineup is definitely helps. He is skating with Oliver Bjorkstrand and Schwartz. So he's got 2 pretty solid line mates alongside of him as well. So at 2.6K, $100 over min price, I think you can definitely do worse than him. Already talked on the other value center that I have interest in from Florida, E2 Luosterainen, second line, second power play. Going to play 18 to 20 minutes. He doesn't fire the puck a ton, but it is a good matchup here against San Jose, who can't stop anyone, and he's just 3,600 get power play time, so you can definitely do worse. I like him. And then the other value guy is Philip Dano for the Kings. Talked about the Kings against Arizona. Expect the Kings to get ownership here against the Coyotes. Coyotes have actually been pretty good defensively, but Philip Dano, 3,700, going to play 17 to 19 minutes. He's averaging right around 3 shots per game. He's been pretty good. He has a 25-point ceiling that he showed earlier this year. Gets second power play time as well. So don't think Philip Dano is the craziest value center as well to round it out. Looking at some of the wings, my first value wing I'm looking at is Marcus Johansson. I already talked about Minnesota here, and Mojo, Marcus Johansson, going to be on that top power play. Second line skating with Eriksson Ek. I already talked about him. He's just 3,700 here, going to play 17, 18 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. And I think he's definitely a good play on that top power play. Could find a way into an assist or even a goal, right? A deflection, throw it in, and you're sitting pretty good there. These next two guys, or this guy right here, this next guy, Kasperi Kapanen for St. Louis. I talked about St. Louis. I think St. Louis is a little sneaky here on the road against Winnipeg. Winnipeg's been the second worst defense in the entire league, allowing over 4 goals per game. Their penalty kill is not the greatest. They allow kind of middle of the league in terms of high danger chances against. They allow a decent amount of power plays. And these Blues are very, very cheap. Nobody's going to play them. Kasperi Kapanen is going to play 17, 18 minutes, second line, second power play. He's had pretty good success against Winnipeg. He did score a goal last game against Winnipeg last year. I think he makes some sense at just 3,300. He's very, very cheap. And then another guy is for the same squad is Brandon Saad. Brandon Saad gets the same matchup, but he's top line, top power play at 3,600. He's going to play 16 to 17, 18 minutes. Again, top line, top power play, skate next to Bobby Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, 2 very good line mates there, 3,600 in a matchup where I do think St. Louis can score some goals. So Brandon Saad, another very, very solid value play there at the wing position. This next guy is revenge season. Anthony Duclair, San Jose. San Jose is a terrible hockey team, but it is still 6.5 total here. Florida has been leaky as well. And San Jose, I mean, Anthony Duclair, top line, top power play with the revenge factor here. Going to play 17, 18 minutes, 3,900 with the revenge factor. Obviously, Duclair was with Florida last season. Now he's out there in San Jose. So do think he makes a lot of sense if you want a value guy that's going to be unowned on a team that is not a good hockey team, but he's a value play, getting big minutes and top power play against a team that you can definitely score on. So like him, already talked about Alex Barrett-Boulet for Tampa. He's just too cheap skating alongside of Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov at sub 4K. So a nice value winger there to add to your stack. And the last guy I'm going to bring up is Stefan Noesen. I think he's got a pretty good matchup here. Second line, second power play for Carolina, 17, 11, 12 DraftKings points in his last 3 against pretty solid opponents there. Obviously, he played Seattle and Colorado. They lost that game. They got beat up pretty good, and he still did well. He's just 3K. I think you could definitely do worse. He's not my favorite play, but I expect there to be goals in this game between Carolina and Tampa. I already talked about it. Probably my favorite game environment on the slate for both sides. I just think it's an up and down hockey game. I think we see like a 4-3 style game or like a 5-4 style game. I think we see 7 to 9 goals in this game combined, and 3K flat, second power play, and second line on the road typically is where I like to play those guys. I think he is a good option. Going into some of these D-men, first D-man, this guy is on an absolute heater. It's Mario Ferraro for San Jose Sharks. 10, 8, 10, 15, 22 DraftKings points to start the year. I mean, this guy is averaging nearly 13 DraftKings points per game at 3,300 as a D-man. He's going to block shots. Florida's going to fire the puck a ton. This guy is probably one of my favorite plays on the entire slate. I'm not a game log watcher, but I mean, this guy's just been consistent. I mean, 3 blocks last game, 2 blocks the game before that, 4, 4, 3. I mean, he hasn't had less than 2 blocks, and he's averaging right around 3 shots per game. So that shot block upside bonus that you get on DraftKings scoring with D-men is something I really like to look at when I'm punting D-men. And Mario Ferraro, definitely one of my favorite plays on the entire slate. Don't expect him to get a lot of ownership either. So I love that at 3,300. Another value D-men, 3,400. It's Matt Roy, 13-6, 13-14 DraftKings points to start his first 4 games of this year. Now he plays Arizona here. Arizona, not a great hockey team, but they've been actually better to start the year this year. But Matt Roy, 3,400, second line, going to see 20, 22 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. He's going to block a lot of shots, and he's going to shoot the puck when he gets it. So shot block upside, again, is there for him at 3,400 for Matt Roy. Another guy, another value D-man, Alex Carrier. I'm looking at Carrier, I think is how you pronounce it. Again, I'm terrible with pronunciation, but 3,200 for Nashville here. Second line, second power play. Going to play over 20 minutes again. Block shot guy. I expect there to be a lot of shots on net from Vancouver, especially on that power play. Last game, he had 5 blocks. The game before that, he had 5 blocks, 2 blocks. 2 blocks the game before that, 10 and 21 in his last 2. He's just 3.2K. Think you can definitely do worse, but I like him as a value D-man. One more expensive, a little bit more expensive value D-man is going out to Vancouver. I already talked about liking Vancouver power play. This guy does get power play 2 time for Vancouver. It's Philip Hronek for Vancouver, 4K flat. He's going to play 24 to 26 minutes. He's going to get the ice time. He's played 25 minutes in his last 2 games. Averages right around 3 shots per game, gets some blocks as well. Again, picks up power play time. And last game against Nashville, he did score last season. Obviously a different scenario. He wasn't with Vancouver last year. He was with Detroit, but still do like to look at that. So at 4K, I think he makes some sense. And then the last guy I'm going to throw out for you is Ben Chariot for Detroit. 3,500 here, 20, 10, and 11 in his last 3 games. Second line, he's going to play right around 20 minutes, going to block some shots, will shoot the puck as well. Has decent history as well against Seattle last year. Did score last game against Seattle, 17 DraftKings points. So at 3,500, I think he makes some sense. That was a lot. Again, 13 games. There's a lot of ways to go on the slate. I'm going to do my best to give you a slate plan, the best slate plan, best angles that I'm attacking the slate for, including the show. Obviously, I talked through some of the stacks. I talked through each position, some value plays. Each one of the stacks, I talked through some of my favorite plays within those stacks. Give you some favorite goalies. That's going to round it out for this NHL quick hit video here for October 24th. Again, opening night of NBA. We have you covered over here at SHIPITNation.com for your NBA stuff, as well as all the NHL content will be up here shortly, mid-afternoon. Build your NHL teams, get those locked in, and then jump into the NBA streets and do that. Good luck tonight, everyone, in your contest. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. But for Nadesify, myself, I will see you guys next time. Let's ship it.